The nation's foster care system is facing a critical shortage of foster families, leaving thousands of children in need of safe, loving homes. Award-winning actress, producer, and foster care advocate Jen Lilley is hoping to inspire change with her new book called To Foster. She joins us to take us inside the pages. Good morning to you, Jen. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on and for shedding sunlight on an issue that desperately needs it.
It certainly does. Now, you have had a very successful career in television and in film. What inspired you to become so deeply involved in foster care advocacy?
I was aware of the foster system growing up because my parents had people often living with us who were outside of our family. So the idea of someone living with us outside of our family wasn't foreign to me. And then after I booked General Hospital and The Artist, which was a movie that won the Academy Award for Best Picture in 2011, I was praying about what subjects to really speak to, and I found out about the child abuse epidemic that's going on in our country, and I got quickly involved. And I mean, honestly, it's an issue that if you care about people experiencing homelessness, if you care about prisoners, if you care about people who are victims of human trafficking, unemployment rates, education decline in our country, all sorts of things, domestic violence, when you really start to look into those, you quickly realize that the intersection of all of those is foster care. And I just truly believe that if we get involved in a child's life early on, or, even before they turn 18, we've seen a lot of success with our teen girls over in Tulsa at Tulsa Girls Home. When you step into a child's story, the statistics go in the opposite way. So this is something that, we can address now.
I love what you said about foster care really kind of serving as that intersection. These children, through no fault of their own, are in these incredibly difficult, dire circumstances, and foster care can really help allow them to emerge from these difficult circumstances. And your co-author is parenting expert, Dr. John DeGarmo. What are some of the what are the numbers or realities that motivated you to collaborate on this book?
Dr. John and I went to Congress in 2020 to petition for premature reunification, which just means kids reuniting with their families before the parent is ready, which really has dire consequences. And we quickly learned during our time in Washington that while we could spend our time passing legislation and, there's a place for that, legislation is tricky because people can put things into your law that you had no intention of being there. And so I just realized that the only way I'm really going to help this situation is if I recruit better foster parents like myself, because as you well know, I'm sure, Paige, there's a lot of myths and misconceptions around foster care, but one thing that's not a myth is that there are either good foster homes or there are foster homes that are literally abusing the children. They are adopting them out of foster care, taking them out of foster care for trafficking. I mean, this is a real situation that is happening, and we are recruiting all of the wrong people. And if good people get in the fight, then we could really change our nation.
And this is really personal for you. You and your family have decided to open your home. And as you said, unfortunately, the realities are there are some foster home situations that are not healthy, that just perpetuate the cycle of abuse that continues. But even though people may be maybe feel compelled to help, some of them are intimidated by the process. What is the biggest misconception that people have about becoming a foster parent?
Can I just thank you so much for asking me that question? It's a great question. Something I hear often is, oh, I love that you're a foster parent. I could never do it. I would get too attached. And I'm always like, that makes you the perfect foster parent. Because these kids need your attachment more than you need to protect your own heart. We're adults. We hopefully have coping skills. If you're going to be a great qualified foster parent, you probably have stability in your life and a lot of love to give. And that's really all it is. But I always tell people, listen, not everyone's called to foster, but everyone is called to foster care. These are children that we need to step into their situation. And so I just tell them, honestly, I don't even know if I make a nickel when people buy my book, but buy my book. It will answer all the questions. But just take an orientation class at your local Department of Children and Family Services. You might as well just get licensed, because once you're licensed, you don't have to take the first call. You don't have to take however many calls. You can wait till it's the right fit. But if you can get licensed, then you could step into the situation when you're ready.
You know, I think you bring up a really good point. I love the fact that your book really provides personal stories. You are candid about the highs and lows of fostering and what that experience has been like for your family. And so it serves as a very practical guide, which is so needed. I am myself a parent of an adopted child, and the blessings that we have had on our family have just been so enriching. They are too numerous to count. But I want to ask you, what has fostering and adoption taught you personally about family and resilience and most of all, hope?
Oh man, I I considered myself to be a kind person who had integrity before I fostered, but foster care stretched me in ways that I could never imagine emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. It stretched me what I thought was beyond my limit. And at the same time, it stretched me in the best way. I now look at people, listen, I'm a woman of faith, I'm a devout follower of Jesus. And for me, it has caused me to look at every single person that I engage with, even if they're being rude, in a different way. I call it kind of like looking at someone through the lens of heaven. Like I feel like I see more like Jesus sees, I hear more like Jesus hears, and I'm just so slow to judge and quick to listen these days.
You are such an inspiration. You know, I pray that there are people that are watching right now that are on the fence and wondering if they should take those steps. To hear your story and the emotion behind the answers to these questions is so powerful. It's exciting to witness the joy that you experienced from bringing home a child. It is very difficult to put into words.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's the honor of my life to be able to do this. You know, all of our children, whether they're biological or not, and I do have biological children, so I can say this, they don't really belong to us. You know, they're children that God placed in our household, and we have to be good stewards of them. And you know, every person I really believe is born on purpose and for a purpose. And if people don't rise up, if good people don't get involved in this fight, I mean, this situation, foster care has gone from bad to worse in the last.
And I completely believe, I believe and agree with you that it really is important to provide these homes. This is the key to a bright future. Before we let you go, we got to talk about your role as Jimmy Stewart's wife in the upcoming movie Jimmy. What was that experience like?
It was incredible. So, yep, Jimmy premieres in theaters nationwide on November 6th, just in time for Veterans Day. And I got the greatest honor of playing his wife, Gloria, who was very stable, and she was just an incredible woman. And it honestly was the honor of my life. And I think that this movie really is going to remind all viewers that we have so much more in common than we have different.
It's so important. All right, very quickly, where can people find out more information about you and get pick up a copy of your book?
Oh, that's so sweet. Books are always available on Amazon, and I also have them on my website, which is jenlilley.com, Lilley.
Fantastic. It's been such an honor speaking to you. Best of luck. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your time, Paige.